What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Drew Deeks channel today. All right, so I just watched it last night, and I got to say, I was very, very impressed. And apparently, a lot of Habs fans were too, because it's number 6 on trending on YouTube right now. But inside the Canadiens draft meetings, the Montreal Canadiens released last night on their YouTube channel a 22-minute video or so on the entire process of the draft, the draft combine. It was pretty impressive stuff. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk briefly about this. Is it too soon to name Nick Suzuki captain? I'll be reacting to an episode from Tony Marinaro's Sick podcast that was just released yesterday. But let's go right into this first. So this was a pretty impressive little documentary, if you will, from the Montreal Canadiens. You really got to get an insight, get to kind of know these guys better. So Ken Hughes, here's Nick Bobrov, Martin Lapointe, and the Canadiens really brought you through the entire selection process all the way through to the draft. Yes, here's Gary doing his thing, telling the Habs fans the trades are involving the Montreal Canadiens. You guys all remember this from the draft. And then, of course, we go through you get to see the entire process before they actually get to this point when they selected Uri Slavkovsky. Nice little shot of the Bell Center here from the draft. This was one of my favorite moments here was when Kent Hughes is actually calling Kirby Dach directly to let him know and really just welcome him actually first to the Montreal Canadiens, having a great conversation with Kirby and telling him we're going to play offense. We're going to play some offense. You're going to use your size. You're going to use your skating. And they also mentioned that they just happened to draft a guy that's the same size as him, if not going to be bigger, in Uri Slavkovsky. So this was a really cool documentary, you guys. And one thing I really gleaned from it also was that the Habs front office is really unified and harmonized. So it's different from the Bergie era where, you saw shots of Bergie's war room with the staff, the scouting staff, and I really felt like everybody was really genuinely on the same page. Even if they disagreed, they did so respectfully. And you really just got a sense from this little documentary here that the Habs front office genuinely does seem unified and harmonized. And those are two key elements. And those are the things that we really glean from this season. That's the kind of vibe the Canadiens are really trying to put out there, is that everyone has to be on the same page in order to have success. Kent Hughes said that specifically in his first address to the media when getting hired as the general manager of the Montreal Canadiens, that he wanted everybody to be absolutely on the same page, even if they disagreed, but that the goal remained the same. We're trying to win a Stanley Cup here, and we're trying to build the best Montreal Canadiens team possible. And the kind of team they want to build, as you guys know, is a high octane, offensively talented team, which is something that the Canadiens just have not done in the longest of times. We know that the Bergevin regime, if you will, was more defensively minded, building around Carey Price, building around Shea Weber, building around Andre Markov, PK Subban, all the from the back end out, right? So that's something that's just different. And this documentary really, really highlighted this beautiful process once again of how the Canadiens came to select Uri Slavkovsky. They show you clips of the actual interviews at the combine, and that's really, really impressive to me. I thought it was pretty cool. You also get to hear from Owen Beck, who's just a really, really gifted hockey player. I think he's going to be an underrated draft pick for us. Really can't wait to go see him play against the Niagara Ice Dogs very soon as well. And of course, you hear from Philip Machar. You hear from Layton Hudson a little bit. Actually, I'm not sure if you hear from Hudson, but there is a couple of other players you're going to hear from as well. And again, I really recommend it. If you haven't watched it already, go on the Habs YouTube channel, check that out. It's really, really cool stuff. All right, so let's get to this guy right here. He's got the A on the jersey, and should he have the C on the jersey? Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up was because after watching this episode of the Sick podcast yesterday, I think we can, respectfully debate between podcasts, if you will. I don't even consider my channel podcast sometimes, but I guess it is. Anyways, um, is it too soon to name Nick Suzuki captain? Well, if inevitably they are going to name him captain, I don't think it's too soon to do it now. I think it's just delaying the inevitable. And I think that because basically what the point was that Tony and his guest on the show were making was that it's maybe too soon. There's too much pressure to put on Nick Suzuki with the new contract kicking in and making him captain right away. Well, to me, I don't understand what pressure there is because the Canadiens aren't expected to win right now. They're in a rebuild mode. This season specifically is a development season. So I don't see where the pressure's coming from. And also the fact, I mean, I know it's captain of the Montreal Canadiens. So I get where the pressure would be coming from in the deepest sense of it all. But Nick's been through so much already. This is going to be his fourth year at the Montreal Canadiens, and he's been through the highs and the lows. He saw a fan throw his jersey on the ice last season. I mean, it doesn't get much lower than that. And He's also been through the highs of getting to the Stanley Cup final with the Canadiens. He's been through the lows of last season. And even in the 1920 season, that Canadiens weren't bound for the playoffs until the playoff bubble was created. So it's not like Nick Suzuki hasn't faced a lot of adversity already and hasn't learned a ton from leadership, including Shea Weber, Corey Perry, Jeff Petrie, Carey Price, just all the guys in the locker room that you can think of that he's already learned from. And you still got Joel Edmondson in the locker room right now. You got Brendan Gallagher. I think Galley probably wouldn't be the choice for captain only because we don't know what's going to happen with that contract. I mean, it was Bergevin's emotional contract that he made with Brendan Gallagher. As weird as that sounds. Now, I love Galley to death, like I've said so many times, but is it feasible to think that Brendan Gallagher is going to be here long term? I think he's going to be here for the next 2 to 3 seasons. Brendan Gallagher will be. I think he's going to see to the fact that the Canadiens are going to try to make this rebuild happen sooner than later. So I think 2 to 3 seasons at least we're going to get out of Gallagher, and I think he'll still be around. But we have Nick Suzuki signed for 8 more seasons. So to me, why not just do this now? You got Joel Edmondson and Brendan Gallagher that can be your alternate captains, absolutely. And whoever else becomes, or whoever else they decide that can wear an A. But I don't think it's too soon to give Nick Suzuki the C, personally. If you're going to do it anyway, this kid's already been a leader. He's been a captain before in the OHL. And I don't think that this season, particularly, the expectations are too high for the Montreal Canadiens. So therefore, I don't even think it's going to go that bad, personally. I think this is going to be a better year than people think, whether you like that or not. And I just think that it's not too soon. Just give the guy the C. It's inevitable. Let him serve as long as possible as captain of the Montreal Canadiens. Now is the time. There is no reason to wait. All right, that's what I think. So let me guys know your comments down below. Appreciate it. Stay tuned for my next video. Really excited to release this for you guys. The career of Andrei Markov. Should they retire his number? That's going to be the question I'm going to be posing to you guys very soon. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for that next video. I'm really excited. He's my favorite player of all time, favorite Montreal Canadian of all time. Andrei Markov is. So stay tuned for that, guys. Thanks so much for the support as always. If you like what you're seeing, you know what buttons to push. So we'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.